Hey there, so I recently picked up the FlySky Paladin PL18 and had a couple of problems with updating the firmware. So I just wanted to run through a couple of pointers with that in case anyone else has similar problems. You'll want to first of all go to the FlySky site, just put in Paladin PL18 firmware, should get you here, and what you want to do is download the firmware file. The latest one is 1049 at the time of doing this video, which is early August. So you download that file there, and the other important one to grab is the FlySky Assistant software. That will enable exporting and importing of your existing models, which, as the note says here, it does say to export, and because they will be trashed when you do the update. But they don't do anything in terms of explaining how to use the assistant software. So I've already downloaded that as well, so I'm just going to go straight to opening that up. Now when it opens up, you'll notice it shows up in Chinese. Click this little button here and you'll get the English version. At the moment it's not showing as connected, so we'll just plug that in. So it should be right now. So the first thing you want to do is check the model list. You'll see I have some models here, which is my Model 1 and Model 2 on the transmitter. I can choose to do a full export, or I can export individually. I'll show each of these. I'll probably start with the full export. So that was the one I pulled out in the middle of the export, so I wasn't too happy. That was because I was in the middle of recording this video and realized I wasn't actually recording. So I'll forward this through because it's a little bit slow. You can see the progress up above. Right, so once it's complete, you'll get a message telling you so. In this case, I also want to do individual exports, so we'll just call that file there. You can see that goes significantly faster. Okay, and so what we'll do now is we can actually leave this open, but I'll close it off. So next thing I want to show now, so we can see those files that I exported. That's these two here. And what I want to do now is I'm at version 1.040 on the controller at the moment, because I did a downgrade. It is possible to do a downgrade from one version to another, which is good. I did have problems trying to downgrade from 1.40 to 1.30, I think it was. That's my controller just wanting to turn off because I've had a standby time. So that's fine, we'll get to it now. So when you run that, you'll notice nothing comes up even though we're still connected. And that's because the remote needs to be put into a firmware update mode. So we'll go over to that now. So just clicking on anything just to wake it up. We can go across now to the system icon. It's probably just a little bit sensitive because I haven't taken the protective covering off. More to the point, it's not sensitive enough. So if I could get this to scroll correctly. So down the bottom there we've got TX firmware update. Update the transmitter, may cause the model to be restored, which we know. We'll click yes. As soon as we do that, we'll see this window come up now saying ready to update. It shows the existing version and the new version. So we click on update and that will run through. The first thing it will do is it will erase the EEPROM. And I found that if you do any updates of one version to the same version, this doesn't take quite as long, but going from a later version down to an earlier version or an earlier version to a later version, the process takes a little bit longer. And on the remote at the same time, you'll see the message here just telling you that it's updating. So it does take a little while, and once again I'll just forward this through a few moments. So when it gets to just on 90%, the remote will do its own reboot. I think I just cut that a little bit short on the video there. Of course it starts up, it starts giving you this buzzing warning and asking if you want to transmit or not. We'll say no. And we'll notice even if we go back to our models, all the default models have shown back up again. So what we want to do now is come back to our FlySky assistant, open that up, change to English. Now I noticed this a couple of times as well, and it may mean that this doesn't sometimes doesn't show up correctly. It doesn't show the model, the current firmware version, until you click on check model list. So in this case here we can see that we've got all the defaults again. This was the first thing that tripped me up trying to do this. When you exported, you only selected the model you wanted to export, and I did not realize, so if we want to import that, it tells us select a model from the list or click select all. So I click the model, it tells me the same message. Select all, same message. So I couldn't quite figure out what was going on with this. In the end, it's because you have to choose both. So you have to choose where you want it as a destination. Again, not quite so intuitive to tell you that that's what you need to do. So choosing to import that. One good thing I found with with this facility though is it means I can effectively import the same model into multiple locations. Even though on the transmitter it's got a functionality for doing copy, it just means that if I want the same, exactly the same settings in multiple spots, that I might want to change various little things, I think it's just a quick and easy method to do that. So we click on our load model list again. I want to bring that second model in. Again, if I don't choose it, so now I'm bringing this into the second position. In this case, the difference between these two models in mine is this one here is actually using the FR16 receiver connected to an Arduino, plugged into the PC to use the Paladin as an expensive remote control for X-Plane. So once again, you could choose to do the full import. So here's the one we did before, and then you can do individuals or select all, and away you go. So we'll import that, and it's doing the whole lot. Right, so there we go, we've got all our models imported. There's still, I believe there's still some other settings in the remote that are probably overwritten. I haven't fully confirmed that yet. But what we'll do now, the next step you've got to make sure you do is after you've updated the models from the firmware update, is do this, because it is extremely annoying having the sounds as loud as they are. I'm just going to turn this up. Right, so transmit, yes. So now we've got the receiver showing up. And what we're going to do is go into RX setup, go down, RX update, make sure that the receiver has the same level of firmware, and after a few moments it does its own regroup, and there we go, and that's the full firmware update, transmitter and receiver. I've got the second model that I've got here has the other receiver. This is okay, I've got no motors in this. We'll say change models, yes. It is actually the same receiver, so I'll just swap that around at one point. And there we go. Alright, so I hope that one's helped you out a bit, and as always, happy flying.